Occurred the 2nd of August 1996, 11 hours 33 minutes and 0 seconds. Local location: Fishers, in, USA. Shape: circle. Duration: 8 to 10 seconds. No of observers. 1 Characteristics: changed color. Stationary circular object tilts up on its axis, pulses white inside, disappears into slit opening hole in the sky. Addendum: you only changed the time and town from last addendum? You must have forgot to change the summary part. Please change my summary to read as follows. Stationary circular object tilts up on its axis, pulses white inside and slowly moves and disappears into a slit opening hole in the sky. Or, if there isn't enough room, see below. I will re-enter my original report and correct it into paragraphs so it will be easier for you and others to peruse later. Thank you.
Occurred the 2nd of August 1996, 11 hours 33 minutes and 0 seconds. Local location: Fishers, in, USA. Shape: circle. Duration: 8 to 10 seconds. No of observers. 0 I was raised and served in the military my first 20 years. I was a police officer, elected sheriff, for a 4-year term of office. I was a corporate safety director for 5 years. I have lived from Europe to Asia and fought in the Vietnam as a Marine for 2 years. I have flown on several different AI crafts and seen many things, but the phenomena I witnessed that morning on August 2, 1996 is nothing I have ever experienced before. It all began when I received a doctor's appointment for my dad at the VA Medical Center, Indianapolis on August 2, 1996, 12:45 a.m. I followed their directions on how to get there, as I have not been there for several years. I was traveling south on I-69 approaching the Fishers exit when I observed a dark grayish object about 1/4 of a mile to the west. I backed off the cruise to about 60 miles per hour and I thought it was a blimp, like ones that are used when a new business opens. I thought perhaps the wind might blow it to its side so I could read what it might say. That's when I noticed that it wasn't tethered at either end and it was lumpy and seemed to wobble. I then realized what it was doing. It was raising itself up vertical from a fixed horizontal position in the sky, like raising a dirty dime up on a table with a magnet, and leaving it balanced on top. Once it was on top, it immediately began to glow white inside, like a dim light bulb becoming brighter for a fraction of a second and then dimmed again or pulsed. When it did this, I could see inside and there was a dark grayish matter at the bottom. It was offset to the right of center. As soon as the whitens was its brightest, it moved to the left, south, in a perfectly straight line about a 1000 featuring. I thought it was going into the cloud to hide, but it didn't. It went in front of the cloud. That's when I could better judge its size and distance. It was approximately 250 in diameter. It was about 50 featuring above cloud ceiling, and approximately 1-1/2 to 2 miles west of my position. When it was moving in front of the cloud, I immediately noticed the left side of this perfectly circular object was disappearing. There was a slit and opening in the sky in front of the cloud. It continued into the opening until it completely disappeared. While I observed this event, I felt time slow way down, almost to a point that it stopped. It felt like driving into molasses and being hit with Novocaine. I know this happened because I began to worry. I have not worried like that since the last firefight I fought on Football Island in Vietnam in 1969. I began to worry because I could not turn my head, but I still had my peripheral vision and the Fishers overpass was there and we were going to hit its columns underneath. That's when the object completely entered the opening and disappeared and time resumed to normal and I had control again. I said out loud, "Hell, let's do that again." And it didn't even wake my dad, who slept through the whole 8 to 10 seconds of the event. I turned the radio on to hear the news, but nothing was reported, not even later on the TV evening news. The next day, August 3, 1996, I read an article in the Indianapolis Star newspaper that the National Weather Service's Doppler radar station at Indianapolis had detected unusual rings on their screens the previous day and reported to the news media that they didn't know what would cause such a phenomena. But they did receive 2 reports of birds taking flight all at the same time together. On August 5, 1996, I called the NWS station at Indy and reported to 2 meteorologists what I had witnessed that morning. I answered their questions and we decided to meet and view the rings on the radar screen. I went home and never discussed the event again, except with a meteorologist at the North Webster station. This station was constructed about a year later, about 23 miles from my home. It's called NEXRAD for Next Generation Doppler Radar because it is linked with all other Dopplers to one main office in one location. The reason I choose to speak about it is because I spoke with a gentleman who is a pilot and he told me about an event when he flew into an opening some 30 years ago. We both believe that our events are directly related and we are only seeking scientific explanations. The one thing I do know is that it left its calling card. And the next time this pattern of rings first begins to develop, we have about 3.5 hours before the soft spot opens and it arrives and departs through the opening. I believe NOAA knows this, and that's why hundreds of Doppler radars are viewed at the same time at one main location. Addendum from witness, dated May 5, 2006. UFO object lifts up on its own axis, stops on top, pulses white inside, moves into slit, opening hole in the sky. Addendum to my reported sighting that you have already posted on your site. 1. I have sketches that you may post to your website and you have my permission to use them there only. I'm sending the sketches, radar images and newspaper article by email today. 2. I do not wish to remain anonymous and you have permission to use my name and my contact email address. E-address deleted. 3. Please change summary description to equals large hovering circular UFO object lifts up on its own axis, stops on top, pulses white inside, moves into slit, opening hole in the sky and disappears. Do you want a link to my website? Deleted. Addendum from witness, dated May 18, 2006. Stationary circular object tilts up on its axis, pulses white inside, disappears into slit, opening hole in the sky. Addendum. You only changed the time and town from last addendum? You must have forgot to change the summary part. Please change my summary to read as follows. Stationary circular object tilts up on its axis, pulses white inside and slowly moves and disappears into a slit, opening hole in the sky. Or, if there isn't enough room, see below. I will re-enter my original report and correct it into paragraphs so it will be easier for you and others to peruse later. Thank you. NUFORC note. We assume the date is correct. The source of the report elects to remain semi-anonymous. PD.
Occurred the 30th of March 2008, 4 hours 35 minutes and 0 seconds. Local location: Fissures, in, USA. Shape, oval. Duration: 2 to 3 seconds. No of observers. 1 pulsating light in the Indianapolis, Indiana area at 4:35 a.m. March 30th, 2008. I witnessed while traveling southbound on Highway 37, Interstate 69 just north of 96th Street, approximately 1/4 mile, in the Indianapolis, Fissures, in, area an unusual light pattern. The light was a low intensity, translucent, white to very light blue in color, and oblong in shape. The size was similar to that of a beach ball, maybe a little bigger. The light rapidly moved north at my guess of 100 plus mph, perpendicular to the outside shoulder of the northbound lanes. Its altitude was approximately 30 feet above the ground. I saw no object related to the light, but the light seemed to pulse, flash at every length of its width and travel. A very rapid pulse considering the speed that I surmised. I tried to keep view of the object, but traveling at 60 miles per hour myself and crossing a lane inadvertently to view it, then trying to regain my control of my vehicle, I lost sight of the light.